I have spent $8,000 hiring virtual assistants through other companies since I first started hiring virtual assistants back in the beginning of 2022. And I can tell you, I've learned a lot about that process, and some of these companies are amazing. But a lot of agents out there just do not have the money and the time to spend on hiring virtual assistants. And I've come to realize that, I'll be honest with you, even when I hired my first, that was the only money I had left over from my business the year before. And, you know, I mean, I don't regret doing it, but I definitely did a lot of wrong things along that process. And of course, when you reach out to the companies, all they want to do is to take your money. And while the service was done amazing, and the company that helped me, which I will name nameless at this time, was awesome, it definitely was something that, you know what, I don't think anyone really gives enough information out there. And you can search on YouTube how to hire your own virtual assistant, but it's such a conglomerate of different information, especially not tailored for real estate agents. And what I kind of realized is that, you know, we need to go through the process. Now, I can tell you that you can absolutely hire your own virtual assistant. You don't need to spend money to a company paying like $4,000 or $10,000 for them to do it. I learned a lot along this process. So this video is gonna be me talking about what I've learned and kind of give you a quick synopsis. But also don't forget, subscribe to this channel as we teach you everything about being an agent, going through our journey, not only with tired agents and our mantra, which is to gain more leverage and gain more profit in our businesses. But to be honest with you, as agents, we don't want to be opening doors at 65. We are using being an agent as a springboard to move into other endeavors and to really grow our lives past this point, whether it's taking commission to buy rentals or whatever. And we show you how we get more leverage in our lives to be able to focus on all these other activities inside our course, which is always linked down below, but even for free on this channel. Now, hiring your virtual assistant, there's a lot of things you need to understand. Yes, you can do it yourself. There's a lot of different things that go into it, and that's why I created a free course. There's no cost. It's not trying to take anything from you. Down below in the description is going to be that free VA course. You can take it, sign up. You can even ask questions inside the course. It is completely free. Sign up, and I promise you it'll take you A through Z. I held nothing back when I made it, and it'll give you everything you need to know about hiring a virtual assistant as a real estate professional. Now, to give you a quick synopsis of what's going on inside of this. So when it comes to the virtual assistant world, I've come to realize there's a couple different countries and areas of the world people hire from. Philippines is the most common inside of the United States, and I'll get into the pros and cons of these areas here in a little bit. And the other area is Eastern Europe. Now, when it comes to Eastern Europe, I had one hire through there, went through the whole process myself. And really the most two common sources that people get virtual assistants from in Eastern Europe is, well, they run Facebook ads, or they use jobrack.eu, jobrack.eu, jobrack.eu. And this is kind of like onlinejobs.ph for the Philippines, which is the main website that people use to hire virtual assistants from the Philippines. Now, just like onlinejobs.ph, JobRack really encompasses a lot of countries. And I will tell you some of the biggest mistakes I made with hiring from Eastern Europe is I did not plan. I should have hired from a country that wasn't part of the European Union. I love the culture a lot more than for certain positions, right? Like sometimes it's just easier because they work better hours, right? They're working afternoon to the evening compared to midnight shifts, like 11 p.m., 12 a.m. at night to like 8 in the morning, right? So the hours are a lot better. They're a little bit more forthcoming, which can be really good for customer support positions and things like that. Or especially they have a huge amount of population that is very good at doing technical side of things, like developers and things like that. And normally the general rule of thumb though with Eastern Europe, you tend to spend about 50% less than a position would cost in the United States. So it's not a huge savings compared to like the Philippines, but it could be an area depending on what you're trying to do when you hire a virtual assistant. Now, the main course that I talked about below, that free course, is really focused on the Philippines. Why? Because I have 2 virtual assistants currently on my team from the Philippines, and I have had amazing success. They're very hardworking people. Culturally, they're a little more reserved, but they're very good when it comes to like video editing, social media management, admin tasks, things like that. Things that like the task in your business that you don't want to take care of, they're very good at those. So just like in a lot of countries like Eastern Europe, college is free, I think, for most people outside the country. So a lot of them have college degrees. They have most of them, when you go to hire them, unless you're trying to get $3 an hour, which is like an entry, like no experience position, you can find a really good experience. Now, one of the downfalls I found with hiring from that part of the world is I realized with both my employees, like they initially going through that company, they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna work like midnight to 8 a.m. And look, I've worked midnights before in the military. I can tell you that it is terrible. And unfortunately, a lot of real estate agents in this industry don't understand that pressure because they've never had to do it in their lives. I don't know how many agents I find that have never worked maybe a blue collar job. And honestly, the ones that have really don't complain about it because they understand. But I can tell you that working those hours is terrible, which is why I've moved both of mine to where their local time, they're working 5 a.m. to like 1 p.m. And the productivity and the energy they have is substantially better. It's a better way of life. So I made a big pact that if I have a position that needs to work during my working hours, it just can't be from the Philippines because it's just too much. Like they start work I'm Eastern time right now, they start work at 4 p.m. and work till like 1 a.m. for me. But that gives me time, so when my workday is ending, I can have a team meeting or I can communicate with them. And then the rest of the day, they're pretty good to go, right? The way I have my system structured and set up. And that course below will go through a lot of the things I learned, the pros, cons, the downfalls, like all the pitfalls I've had. Because when you go through the hiring process, like you have to understand it's not just about hiring that person and life's good, right? It's not gonna solve all the issues. You need to also be a good leader. You need to understand what position you're looking for, how you're trying to do it, writing up the description. Even if you go through a company that's gonna hire for you, you have to know who you're looking for. Because they can only work on the information you provide them. And that course is gonna cover everything because I just felt like it was a huge gap in the real estate industry is people just not explaining this process. And you know, it's just, I wanted to give free value back because I can tell you that if someone had showed me this information from the get-go, I probably wouldn't have spent that $4,000 and I probably would have gone through the process of hiring them myself. Now, I will tell you this, when it comes to hiring someone, I don't care if they're local, I don't care if they're overseas. That age-old saying of slow to hire, quick to fire is absolutely true, and I have learned that the hard way. I've had several bad positions I've hired and had to let people go. Most of the time, it was let people go because they just weren't the right fit, they didn't meet their goals. One of them had to be a fire, and I was very quick to cut the head off the snake because it was going in a very bad direction, not working during work hours. It just wasn't good, and I had to let him go. But I can tell you that while certain positions might be hard to hire for, you learn really quick that you just have to make things work, and hiring is not a perfect process. No one is amazing at hiring. You can get better at it, but really it's the system and processes that come into place along that journey of hiring people allow you to spot red flags and end it before it gets worse. So understand that you might go through the hiring process and some people will probably comment below this and they're gonna be like, Cameron, I've gone through I've hired my own and it never works out. I get it, it's miserable. But guess what, if you're not looking to hire one of these companies and spend all thousands of dollars, guess what? You need to suck it up and realize you're gonna be doing a lot of the front work yourself, and that's okay. Honestly, welcome to being a business owner. So if you're looking to get information and you wanna get a free course that takes you from A to Z, it's down below. And you sign up, you take it, you can, like I said, if you have any questions, you can comment inside the course. I'll respond to them, I'll look at them, I'll answer and help you any way that I can. Because I can tell you that one of the greatest things I ever did in this business was hiring virtual assistants because I didn't want to be self-employed anymore. I wanted to be the owner of a business. And what does that require? That requires stepping away from activities that I shouldn't be doing because that's not going to make money for the business. It's only weighing me down and not giving me the time to do things that I should be doing. So that's where virtual assistants just blew me away. And now, obviously, being a member of the Armed Forces, being a Marine, I want to create more jobs in the United States. I do. I love this country. I want to support it more. The reality is the way things are nowadays is guess what? It is very, very hard to afford someone in the United States. And guess what? You'll spend like 25 bucks an hour for someone who has no experience. And that's just how the country is now right now. And they probably want full benefits. They want all these things, right? That's just how culture is nowadays. So I encourage you to look into the world of virtual assistants, realize how much it can help you and realize that you can do it yourself. And it might be scary, it might be terrifying, but understand that if you do it the right way, you go through that course and do it step by step, you'll be in a way better position than you could ever imagine. If you have any questions, you can comment down below, or hey, for any of you who are looking to move brokerages, you could always partner with me at eXp Realty, and I'm happy to walk you through step by step alongside with you. Why? Because if you go through the process to join me, to put trust in me, I promise you that I'll do everything within my power to make sure that you're taken care of, because the reality is don't join, you don't want to be a group of people who's not going to want you to grow, and hey, we want you to grow. So that link to the course is down in the description. Look forward to seeing you inside of it, and any questions, you can comment down below. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.